Return to Monkey Island is a new charming point-and-click adventure game, but who is it for? If you think that the Uncharted series are the true adventure games and seeing Marvel character skins in your favorite online shooting game is nostalgic, then Return to Monkey Island is probably not for you. This game is more along the lines of what Telltale Games made with the Walking Dead, Batman, or even the Minecraft licenses, where you point and click around the screen to pick up items, talk to other characters, and solve puzzles. The Monkey Island series goes all the way back to 1990s and pixel graphics. It tells a story of a pirate wannabe called Guybrush Threepwood, who is obsessed with finding the treasure of the Monkey Island. Along the way, Guybrush finds love and an arch nemesis, a pirate called Captain LeChuck, who is equally interested in the secret, as well as Elaine Marley, who is the romantic interest of a hero. Return to Monkey Island picks up directly from the second game, rather than from the fifth game, although it references all games in the series. This narrative jumps all the way back to 1991, which makes this game a treat to the long-running fans of the series. Gameplay. Point-and-click adventure games are remembered for the nonsensical, logical puzzles, and were often not so logical and spread across multiple areas, forcing the player to backtrack all the time, and in some ways unfriendly controls, where actions like look at, push, use, pick up, and talk were split into their own separate commands. Return to Monkey Island moves away from these negative tropes by making its puzzles simpler, although still requiring some backtracking and brain work. The actions have been narrowed down to only 2 buttons now, and while I personally like these changes, I saw a few old school fans complaining that this made the game too easy to stand among the giants from the past. I found the gameplay as well as the flow of the game really smooth. Like I said, the game isn't as tedious to play as some of the classics, and Guybrush is a treat to navigate through the areas. He moves around quickly, and if you double click, you will sprint to where you want him to go. In result, you never feel like you have to wait for anything, unlike in other games of this genre, where you often have to sit and watch the character move at a snail's pace. This argument alone probably won't be enough to convince anybody younger to give Monkey Island a go, but I think that the developers just understand that us, old people, don't have that much time left on this world, and that there are bins to be taken out before the boss comes back home from yoga. Presentation. Return to Monkey Island is definitely the odd one in the series when it comes to presentation. The previous games always had a cartoonish but semi-realistic look to them, even back in the pixel days. Return to Monkey Island doesn't look like any of its predecessors, and its bold look stands out among all the other games released in 2022 so far. The art style has a consistent expressionist look that might seem a bit over the top, but it quickly clicks once you start playing the game. These are some high quality graphics with full animations that will often make you feel like you are playing an animated film, especially when the game transitions to its cutscenes. I actually really liked this new arty style of Monkey Island, and at this point I would be disappointed if the next game would move away from it, if another game is ever to happen. If you are into art or animation specifically, it is worth having a closer look at this game as a case study if nothing else. Where the art style might have failed with some people, music certainly didn't. Right from the get-go, the sound design will place you right in the middle of the atmosphere of the Monkey Island. It feels like you are listening to the old soundtracks but pimped out. This is again another nod towards the old fans of the series, but even if you haven't played any Monkey Island games before, you'd still find the music fitting. The voice acting is also at high level, with some of the previous cast coming back to play the characters again. Honestly, the whole sound design is a feast of nostalgia to the Monkey Island fans, and a high quality experience to anybody else. So who is this for? I think that it is fair to say that Return to Monkey Island is a game for the fans of the series, with its classic but more player-friendly gameplay and a nostalgic but controversial presentation of the setting. Even though the game has been optimized in many ways to be more accessible for new players, I think that a lot of the charm in this game would only be appreciated by those who have played at least the first 2 games in the series. There are too many inside jokes and references to the old games that would go over anyone's head if they don't know who the characters and events are, but at the same time, Return to Monkey Island is charming enough to be a good time for everyone. However, I would strongly suggest playing the first 2 games, which can be bought fairly cheap these days, because they are still classics worth playing, and they would give context to a lot of what's happening in Return to Monkey Island.